One of the big reasons I'm also in Zinzino is the corporate staff. Zinzino's co-founders, starting with Orion and Hilda, and Doug Peterson, the CEO, have assembled an all-star team on a management level. I got to meet Mr. Art Jonak, the president of North America, and I realized he had a long history. He understood the field. He understands the job you and I do every day. He understood corporate. He understood health and wellness, and he's even very close personal friends with the co-founders. So with that, we're very honored tonight to have him close out our kind of 4th of July week. Paul, so Art, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to put you on spotlight for everyone too. Are you there, Art?
Man, I am so fired up watching you guys. I mean, Stuart, are you kidding me? Every time you went on to the next slide and then the next slide, and I'm like, all right, where do I sign up? How do I get started? And then I'm realizing I'm already in, and we've got a big mission to do. Art, it's so amazing to work with you. In my opinion, you're one of the greatest of all times. We call them, the GOATs, right? And one of the greatest of all times inside of our profession of direct selling is Art Napolitano. It's a legendary name, and when I had the privilege of hearing that we had the chance of possibly working together, this is what my face looked like. I was just smiling ear to ear. I think for about a week. I'm like, this is just amazing. This is going to be so much fun. So for those of you that are here with us today, thank you for being open, for taking a listen, seeing what we're doing. When we're looking at a company, I think one of the key things is to look at the founder, right? Can the founders, in this case, Orion and Hilda Sala, can they walk through brick walls when needed? Because if any of you have run a business, and maybe some of you have, maybe many of you have, you know that those brick walls can be big, the problems can be substantial, and we've got to prove that that's possible. And I've known Orion since our early 20s, and we've never been in business together until Zinzino. And I can tell you that you have to borrow my belief from him about him is that I've never seen him ever quit on anything. And I've never seen him hungrier than he is today about building this business. And he's still in his 40s. So he's got an amazing amount of runway left. He's got a huge goal, huge vision. And, that's step one. But then if we have that in place, if you have a founder who has the ability to go forward despite huge obstacles, a big vision, great, path for the future, then you say, who can execute against that vision? And Art covered that very well in Doug Bergheim-Pedersen, who's a Wall Street level management, right? That's kind of what you said. And I think that's very accurate, is to say, who's going to execute against that vision? And you guys are going to get to hear from Doug Peterson in the not too distant future. And you'll see that when you talk to him, the management team is very much designed to deliver on the vision. And as Stuart said, the vision is to get to 100 million customers, to get to 10, $20 billion in sales. It's a hefty goal to literally change the dial, to move the dial on public health globally. So on the corporate side, on the management team side, it's very important to continue to move up or move out. That's kind of our philosophy in-house. The group that maybe gets the company to 100 million may not be the exact same group that takes it to 200 million, right? And some people will move up and then some people won't, and they're going to have to move out and we get better people. And then that group's going to be maybe a little bit different compared to the one that takes us to 500 million and then a billion and 2 billion and 10 billion. These are different skill sets. So what's the problem that we're solving, right? So if I'm looking at a company, I'm saying, okay, leaders, founders, they're there. Management team, execute against the vision, that's in place. But what is the problem that you're solving is the next question I ask when I'm looking at investing in a company, for example. And Stuart covered that very well. But let me share with you what that would look like if you decided to come here and help us share this with others. Because what we're looking for is we're looking for help. We are looking for help to help solve one of the biggest health challenges that Stuart talked about, that 99% of people in the United States are facing. 99% of people have this problem. And how do we explain this to our friends, our relatives, our neighbors, our coworkers? My middle daughter's a ballerina, and if I'm going to go and hang out with the parents that are waiting for the ballerinas to come out of class, and the conversation is steered towards health, what do we say? What do we tell them? So here's what I would tell you is follow along on this 2-minute example. And if you believe that you can share this 2-minute example, and I think if you hear it 4 or 5 times, you'll have it memorized. You can do it better than I do. And you're able to explain this, then you can go build an extraordinary business with Zinzino, right? And be able to lean on Stuart's expertise because he knows 99% more than I do about Omegas. It's just absolutely incredible. You can lean on Art Napolitano, who knows so much about building the business and helping people all over the world, what I call break to zero, which means don't start from zero financially every single month. Find a way to start with $100 a month and $1,000 a month and $10,000 a month. That's what I call breaking the zero financially. Most people start from zero every single month financially. Zero in July, then they start from zero in August, they start from zero in September, and over time they get super frustrated. So there are some companies that help you do that. You know, in the investment space, if you buy Apple, you get a dividend every quarter, very similar to what Zinzino does. So that's one way to break the zero. Some of you may have kids that play Roblox, right? Video game. And if some of the kids design something inside that game, like a sword or a wall or a house or a shirt or a game, and other people buy that, guess what? Those kids break the zero. They can start to earn every single month by having created something inside that game. So this whole new generation is coming and they're saying, hey, if we help you build your company, pay us, right? So if you look at Netflix, they start with, I don't know, 200 million subscribers a month, probably more. And as a corporation, they have 200 million times, let's say $15 a month. They don't start from zero every month, do they? No, they start with a whole lot of money every single month, and they're not worried about starting from zero financially as a company. But if you recommended a Netflix show to somebody, which I'm sure most of you have done, did you get a nice email from them saying, hey, thanks for recommending this show? Did you get maybe a gift card and say, here's an Amazon gift card because you recommended the show to other people? No, they don't do that. And I consider that a greedy corporation. And I mean that with all sincerity. That's a greedy corporation. You were out there, you helped them build their business, and they didn't reward you in any way at all. But inside Zinzino, if you help us go solve this problem and you help more people get into balance, then the company will continue to share in those profits with you for as long as those customers order. Your personal customers, as Art talked about, or if you build a team, and inside that team there are more customers, they will pay you on all those customers month after month after month after month. You're going to do the work right one time, and you can get paid again and again and again and again for a long time based on that work that you did by building an organization of customers. And in this case, the customers, and many will order for maybe some of them for their lifetime, right? So how do we start that process? Here's what I do. I say, if I was talking to Stuart, and he would know all this, but let's pretend that he didn't. Let's pretend that I had a Men in Black magic wand and just erase his memory. Stuart, you and I are chatting, and here's what I'll say. I'll say, Stuart, here's what I learned, right? And what I'll say is, here's what I learned. And I'll hold up my hand. And as you're watching this, I want you to ask yourself, can I do what Art's about to do? And if you can do what I'm about to do with other people that you run into, you can build an extraordinary business with Zinzino. That's my belief because I'm seeing it. I can tell you that the last 3 years, Zinzino USA has grown 30% year to year, CAGR, compounded annual growth rate. In May, North America grew 116% compared to May of last year. It's the fastest growing market North America is. Why? Because the message is resonating, because we have maybe the biggest population that has the biggest problem with being out of balance. So here's what I say. I say, here's what I learned. I hold up a hand and I say, imagine this is an omega-6. Now, I'd never heard of what an omega-6 was, but here's what I found out. Number one, it's essential. Your body has to have it. And number two, your body doesn't make it, so you got to get it from your food, or from a supplement. I put this hand down, I lift up this hand, I say, now I want you to visualize, imagine this is an omega-3. Now, I'd heard of omega-3s before. I mean, they supplement my milk with it, right? And omega-3 is also essential. Your body has to have it. And number two, your body doesn't make it, so you got to get it from your food or from a supplement. And what I found out was the difference between these two is that this one here, omega-6, creates inflammation. And omega-3 fights inflammation. This was a recent cover of National Geographic magazine. The entire issue was dedicated to anti-inflammation, right? So on one hand, we have the omega-6s that create inflammation. On the other hand, we have omega-3s that fight inflammation. And this is all we need to get across. And the person who you're talking to, the mom, the dad, the neighbor, the relative, here's what happens most of the time. They go, wow, I didn't know that. Like most of the time, that's what they're going to say, because I didn't know that either. But we're saying it in such a simple way, literally 35 seconds, 40 seconds, right? That they get it. And then I say this, I say, and then what I found out from a friend of mine named Stuart, for example, right? That there's this ratio. And this ratio is just, it changed everything for me and my family. The ratio is 3-to-1. We should have no more than 3 of these inflammatory omega-6s for every one of these anti-inflammatory omega-3s, 3-to-1. And if we're in 3-to-1 or better, we're in the safe zone. How many people want to be in the safe zone? Everybody, right? But if we're higher than 3-to-1, 4-to-1, 5-to-1, 10-to-1, 50-to-1, 25-to-1, 110-to-1, we're in the danger zone. So I needed to find out right away, am I in the danger zone? And what I did was I took this amazing test called the balance test. A friend of mine introduced it to me. I didn't have to go to the hospital. I didn't have to go to the doctor's office. I could take it from the comfort of my own home. 15 business days later, I got my results, and I was freaking 20-to-1. 20-to-1. That means I was way in the danger zone. And I was so upset, not just for my health, but I knew in that moment that my wife was probably in the danger zone. My children were probably in the danger zone. I had my children tested, and guess what? They were 40-to-1. 40-to-1. That's on me as the dad, right? That got me upset. And so now I realize I'm in the danger zone. What do I do? Right? Because if I'm obese and I do have a stomach, my daughter keeps telling me, Daddy, I want you to be flat, not fat. That takes a while. I got to go work out, and that's going to be a half an hour a day, 5 days a week, and all this stuff. But here, as Stuart covered, we have a product called the balance oil, because clearly my diet didn't get me into balance, right? So I didn't have the discipline to get there through my diet. So I started taking this product called the balance oil, and then here's how I took it inside of a shot glass. We call it a balance shot. So every morning we line up 4 shot glasses in the kitchen. We put some fresh squeezed orange juice in there or water. We line up the balance oil. We put the balance oil on top. And then I take one, my wife take one, the kids take one. Guess what? It's a 1-second solution. In 1 second, I'm taking care of one of the biggest health risks for my family. And 120 days later, as Stuart said, we took the test again, and we're in balance. And I'm like, whew, danger averted, right? Like, here we go. So did we stop taking the oil after that? No, it's not like you go to the gym one time and then you stop going to the gym. No, this is something that either you're going to adjust your diet and eat 10 cans of sardines a day, or just take the shot. 1-second solution, just throw it back, boom, done. I mean, we're all trained on how to take shots. We've all went to college, right? We know how to do this. So the only downside to this is that I'm teaching my kids how to take shots early, but at least they're healthy shots. And if you can tell this story, you can go build an extraordinary business, because what I'm seeing, Stuart, and I see Natalie is here and Stephen as well. My gosh, it's such a pleasure to work with Natalie and Stephen Chernisky. I mean, just wow, it's just amazing. Hi, get to wave to you guys. I love seeing that. If we can tell that story, then it's going to fall on good ears, right? Some people are going to say, yeah, I need to find out as well, right? And say, great, let's get you the test. And as Stuart said, it's $170 for the test if you buy it retail. But it gets better if you agree to get a bottle of oil on auto ship, cancel anytime, then the test drops to $109. $109 for this test is an extraordinary value. And the company gives you a bottle of balance oil for free with that $109. This together, this balance test, complete 11 profile, on your blood-based test, the best, it's a gold standard, and a bottle for free for $109. That's maybe the best value in all of supplemental nutrition in the world. But it gets better, because month 2 you get a bottle, month 3 you get a bottle, month 4 you get a bottle, $42 a month. $42, that's it, to take care of one of the biggest health risks that people face. And then month 5 they send you a second test completely free, $170 test. So in reality, you're getting 2 tests and a bottle of oil for $109. Come on, I've been saying it for 18 months. Anybody come and tell me, and then show me a better value in nutrition, preventative health, and I'm all ears. But I haven't had anybody come back to me and say that, because we're taking care of one of the biggest problems with, oh, that's right, here's how we find out if we're in the danger zone, here's how we take care of it, and here's how we take it. 1 second a day. Now, if you can tell that story with enthusiasm, right? Watch what happens. Because what I'm noticing is that the teams that have that story told more often every day are creating incredible sales, are creating incredible results. So at first, it might be just you, right? So Michael and Sean, you guys are here, and you might be thinking, hey, I'm new, right? Great. Well, maybe you can commit to telling that story once a day. Once a day. Hey, this is an omega-3. It's essential. My body doesn't make it. Number 2, this is an omega-6. It's essential. Your body doesn't make it. You got to get it from food supplements. Oh, there's a ratio. What was it again? 4 to 1, 5 to 1? No, 3 to 1, right? Because we learned it over time. And then if we're 3 to 1, we're in the safe zone. If we're higher than 3 to 1, danger zone. Oh, yeah, that's right. I took the test. I found out, oh, man, I was in danger zone. What did I do? I went the easy route. I took the supplement, and I took 1 second a day. It took me 1 second a day to take the shot, and now I'm taking care of that problem. What problem? This problem, right? This is the problem we're taking care of in your bodies. So at first, it just might be you telling the story once a day. Maybe you're a go-getter and you say, I'm going to go tell the story twice a day. But at some point, you're going to have somebody else join your team, right? And that person joins your team and they commit to telling the story twice a day. Now the story is being told 4 times a day in your team. You're telling it twice. They're telling it twice. That's 4 times a day. Good things will happen. Eventually, there's going to be 10 people that say, you know what? I want to help you go tell the story. Because if you ask the wrong question, the answer doesn't matter. The wrong question up until this point for people who believe in preventative health and you had high triglyceride levels, they would say, Stephen and Natalie, your triglyceride levels are high. I recommend you take 1,000 milliliters of fish oil. And if your body can handle it, take 2,000. That was the standard answer. But if you ask the wrong question, how many milliliters, the answer doesn't matter. The right question is what you're doing getting you into this omega safe zone balance, right? That's it. So if we're get good at that, there are going to be some people that already take omegas. And as Art said, showed in the slides, 500 million people already take omegas. All we're doing with them is we're upgrading their quality. Hey, let's find out if yours works. Well, mine have 362 DHAs. I don't want to hear it. Doesn't matter. The question is it getting you into balance, right? I'm not going to get into arguments about milliliters and DHAs and EPAs, and I don't need to memorize it about all the other products. It's very simple. Test, don't guess. Let's do this. So that's a very easy target demographic to go after. Number 2 are the ones that Art pointed out. They're already taking supplements, but they're not taking fish oil. Perfect. Because you know what's happening? Lynn, I see you here. You're looking great. Like, you're probably one of the people that believes in preventative health, right? Maybe taking a few supplements here and there. And what did we do? We go to the store, we buy all these nutritional supplements, we get to our kitchen counter, we put them on the counter, bottles and shakes and potions and powders, and we're looking at this and we're going, what do I do? How much do I take? Right? And then we Google it and we get even more confused. This one works with this one, but not with this one. And we're living in this world of, I hope it works. I hope it works because I don't want to have the problems of a lot of people suffer later in life. And then maybe you're sick 2 days instead of 3 days at one point. And you're like, man, normally I'm sick 3 days, but this time I was sick 2 days. So you go from hope to belief. You're like, oh man, I believe these things work. And then Lynn, somebody comes to you, let's call him Jim. And Jim says, Lynn, why are you taking all that stuff? And Lynn, you're going to say, because I hope it works. He's going, oh, you hope it works? Come on, you're wasting your money. And then you say, no, I believe it works. Oh, you believe it works, Lynn? Come on now, you're wasting your money. And here's the thing. For the things that we can test on, we're going to go from hope to belief to knowing. And that changes the entire game. This is why we think that we can become the #1 preventative health company in the world. Because if we can test, find out if you actually need a product, if you're in the danger zone, and then we can test again to prove that your product did the result, that changes everything. So that second category of people that already take preventative health products, we're just going to tell them, hey, let's introduce you to one more that you may not be aware of. And I love those headlines that you were using, Stuart. There's some incredible headlines that you created and crafted. I'm like, oh, I like the verbiage on that. You're a marketer. That's what we do. So at some point, you're going to have 100 partners on your team telling the story twice a day. That's 200 times a day, plus your 2 is 202 times a day that this story is being told. Guess what? Great things are going to happen. At some point, you'll have 1,000 partners, maybe now in 6, 7 different states, maybe a province, telling the story twice a day. 2,000 times a day, the story is being told. You're telling it twice. At some point, you'll have 10,000 partners. Is that possible? Ask Art. Ask Art what's possible. Ask him, hey, could I have 100,000 partners globally in 147 countries telling the story once or twice a day? Yes. That's where we're going. And you're telling it twice a day. And the story is being told 200,000 times a day on your behalf. Art, what's going to happen when that happens in your team? Good things or great things or amazing things or things that will completely blow your mind because you won't believe how fast your team is growing. And I can ask Art that because he's done it, right? He's done it. He's seen that. He knows what that looks like, what that feels like. So, you know, we're not the greedy corporation. Help us build this publicly traded company. Help us go get as many people in the United States, Canada, Mexico, and globally understand the right question. Is what I'm doing getting me into the safe zone? And if not, let's do something about it. And if you help us do that, the company will share in the profits with you in a number of different ways, including equity, as Art said, because that's been introduced, where you get shares, you get a piece of the pie. So in addition to your monthly and weekly commission check, you can start to build wealth by having actual equity in the company. It's amazing. So we have the vision, we've got the product, we've got the management team, we've got a field team with Art and everybody here, just absolutely amazing culture. And then ultimately the pay plan just decides how the money's shared. And this pie is going to get so big. Like if the pie is small, what does it matter what the pay plan does? But if the pie gets big and you decide how the pay plan's cut up, then you take a knife and you cut a slice. And it was my birthday yesterday, so we had cake, almond cake. Oh, it was delicious, amazing. And you take a slice and you look at that slice and you're like, can this slice get me to the top of the plan? And I'm here to tell you, it's not the slice that'll get you to the top of the plan, it's the knife and the residue left on the knife. And you lick that knife, that can get you to the top of the plan. That's how big this pie is going to get. I'm a huge believer. We're going to go from obscure to popularized. We're taking this innovation to a trend. It's something that doesn't go away. It's not a fad. It's not like, you know, noni. I love noni. Fantastic. It came and it went. You know, mangosteen, it was amazing. Came and it went. Acai juice, amazing. Kind of came and went. Stuart, you know this, right? Omegas. 10 years from now in your team, somebody joins in Malaysia. Guess what their friends are going to be looking for? Omegas. This isn't going to go away, right? This is something that stays for long term. So Artie, I'm fired up. It's July 4th weekend. I'm fired up about that. And I'll just ask you one favor. You know that most heart attacks, because you told that story about you. Yes. Most heart attacks happen when we're sleeping. That's the reality. That's the truth. And we don't want to think about that. But if you can do me one favor, those of you watching here think, I don't know if I want to take the test or not. I don't know if I want to find out if I'm in balance or not. When you go to bed tonight and you sit on the edge of your bed, I want you to take your hand, put it over your heart. And as you feel that heart beat, that gift that you've been given, I want you to just ask yourself, is tonight the night? And if that kind of keeps you up like it does me, maybe get into balance, right? Let's help maybe cut down the odds of that happening. So Artie, let me turn it back to you. It's such a privilege to be here with you and Stuart. Totally pumped up, excited to work with you guys. And I'm on a mission. We're all on a mission. Let's get 10 million Americans a bottle of this a month. Guess what? That's 10 times 42. That's $420 million a month, Art, in sales. That's about $200 million a month in commissions for the people that help build the company.
You know,
wow.